Hello and welcome back to the channel, and we're going to play Enchanted Rock by patlouvar, which is one of the many deadline day publishers that we've had in World Cup. Got a few more still to get through, but this was, given that we were doing one from Group G already, I figured I'd do another one as well. Now, Pat has said the following. Black teas are manipulated for winds, see below. So black is for medium or low winds, southwest for a good time. We'll go with that. Tea manipulation for strong prevailing headwinds based on wind direction. Green is east, gold is west. Slow or default green speeds preferred. Okay, there's a lot of information there, but basically we're going to go medium and southwest. And we're going to play off the blacks. But those of you watching along, that's what he's said for alternate conditions. So there we go. Small greens, dramatic elevate. So as in, the question was, are there any key design features you'd like to highlight? Small greens, dramatic elevation changes, tight routing on an open plot with expansive views. The location is intended to be a semi-arid hilly area with lots of exposed rock and trees. South Texas, southwestern Colorado, or central Mexico. Okay, so very much dried out. Cool. Medium slash difficult, tough reliefs or platinum, and no real life courses that inspired it. Just from my own imagination and entirely based on my own experience in course design and architecture. Cool, we like this. Now, I'm a huge fan of a lot of Pat's stuff. Right, he said black, didn't he? So black, and let's go with pin 2. So Pat's recent courses he's done, he's gotten better and better. I guess the most recent major contest one would have been Sheep River, which came second, I think, in National Treasure, and was really unlucky not to do even better. He's really good with planting, really good with all the technical stuff, puts in a ton of time, and just gotten much, much better, much, much quicker. Great with plot design as well. This looks like it draws a little bit from Sheep River. Sorry, Saucy. In that we've got this large river down here. Definitely see the dry planting, which looks really good. All the Kashmir elms that render terribly. Okay, and we've got some of the new rocks, which he's had fun with. I mean, 100% captured the vibe you're going for of like very dried out and kind of a unique look, certainly. Love the long river, works well. I really like the texture choices too. Blind fences, obviously. Ton of the rock work. I've never loved these ones, so I'm interested to see how you've incorporated them. The planting in and amongst the rocks looks really good. Interesting to go for a very green grass as your base as well, given how dry it is. That's a false front. Okay. I think there's lots about this one that we can look forward to. Looks very interesting and really certainly creative. Ooh, we've got some big kind of rock feature here. Fun. Lots of rocks and stuff. Okay, we're going to leap back to the clubhouse, which is a stock clubhouse. Yay, with some trees. Also, yay. Yeah, nicely done. Okay, let's give this one a spin. Okay, opening par 5. Definitely kind of a gentle handshake, but look at the amount of slope we've got here. If we do take on this bunker, we don't want to do it too much. Green is certainly small. I really, really appreciate the planting. I thought Sheep River's planting around that creek area was some of the best I've seen in the game. This is right up there as well. It absolutely nails the vibe from the kind of dead, small looking trees, scaling, and yeah, Choice of objects, absolutely on point. Okay. Fast may not help me. Thought this was Geysers. There's some similarities, certainly. Yeah, no light rough is going to be unfortunate. I love that this ridgeline features all the way through the hole and kind of runs up and into the green. I think that's a really smart move. Some little bits of sand texture in here as well, just give it a little bit more dynamism. Nice. Yeah. I guess my question number one will be, would I prefer this with light rough? Based on the first hole, maybe. But we're gonna. I know that you're pushing this for a difficult course, so the decision totally makes sense. Ugh. But I think generally, when you're going for a really slopey course, even if it's just a tiny cut, I think it really benefits. Well, let's try this again. Third time lucky. Just clear the false front, please. Ah. I mean, if I make a birdie on this, it's a travesty, right? Little splash. So kind of what we were talking about with Grovies last time. Like the little splashes of colour and the slight detail changes in the environment make a really big difference here. Just draws your eye enough. 129s. Okay, so about the same speed as the last round. Turn in. Oh, doesn't stop there, does it? Shame. Good opener. It definitely sets the tone for what I assume is going to be a very, yeah, got a lot of elevation and a lot of slope. Okay. The detail work that's gone into the planting is outstanding. Like, really, really good. And I love the flowers and things you've chosen. Like, they're underutilized and they're really good. Cacti are great little touches as well. They're not in your face. They make sense. We're combining some objects just for fun. Yeah, this all makes a ton of sense. The bits of planting I don't necessarily love. I think it's just a little heavy on the bearded bunkers when you do them. So just here as well. Probably would have thinned that out just a little bit. Right. What do I want into this green? I don't really want a pitch shot because I suck at them. That little bunker makes me chuckle. I love the choice of white grass. The little winter grass blended in, I think, is a really nice touch as well. Yeah, okay, right. We've established that Pat's point planting is very, very good. Enchanted Rock. Is it a rhino style name? Oh, I didn't. Maybe I should have just hit driver. Quite a long way in now. Yeah. It's just really hard to make it so that it's not kind of all or nothing, I guess. So, it's all very dense here, and then you've got nothing here, and I don't know. I feel it's the very dense covering the ground that just looks a. Yeah, it's hard for me to explain. I like this. I like this. This just looks a bit dense, and certainly nitpicking in the extreme. Really good hole. Awesome look for a par three. I love the green side. I love the framing, like leaving this side open. Yeah, really, really good. Wonder whether losing this tree would have made it even better. And it's not an easy par 3 either because... Oof. Okay. So we've got to land it where? So basically asking me to land it here or hit a fade, I guess. Could do that. Or just fly it over. Well, I'm not very good at this game, so yeah, about there. Too much. I mean, he has said it's a flat course, potentially. Really good par 3. I love the different hole locations you got there. That little mound certainly wreaks havoc on that pin. Certainly with the wind I've got. Okay, so this is the rock walls that we've got coming in here. Love the bunkering around the green. Yes, I think the beardies are a little heavy around playable surfaces is going to be my only thing. Just strikes me as a little odd that I could see having it quite heavy around here and then just a little bit here. Heavy here, and not much here is the bit that's throwing me off a little bit. I don't mind this one so much, but these two are kind of a bit big. All right, and I think... Oh, it's drivable. Huh. That'd be rude not to. Ah, get a bounce. Hey. Hmm. I think I liked it when it wasn't. I liked it when I was thinking that the 3-wood was the option. I like it slightly less as a drivable hole. I would have. I wonder whether just popping a bunker halfway up here so that you've got a little bit to carry and then play it, kind of where I landed it, to be honest, might have been interesting or like a bit of a deterrent. Problem with this is you're always going to be bouncing the ball onto the green, right? But if it's kind of a not a drivable hole, suddenly you're playing further around the court, like further away this way for the angle, which incentivizes you not to go straight for it and then maybe stymie yourself behind these bunkers. This is the first one that hasn't worked for me quite so well. Don't get me wrong, it's still a good hole, but I think I'd have made those tweaks because I just feel like I'm kind of... I don't know if there's really a reason not to go for it if you, as long as you don't go left. And certainly at plat level, I think you really, or I say plat, this is elite / plat, but at that level, you kind of need a good reason to dissuade people for going for it. We go Plinko off the rocks. So tempting, but if you miss, you're in a bunker texture, which I guess is why this is there. It's tempting, isn't it? Tiny green. I love the amphitheatre of the rocks around it, and the little lion's mouth is great. Yeah, as small greens go, I think small and heavily contoured, this is done really nicely. Lots of time for that. Rubbish tee shot, but we're okay. All safe. Just a very long approach into a green that doesn't really require a very long approach. The dead tree with the bird's nest is a lot of fun. I like that. Could be alright, you know. That slope softens the bounce quite nicely. Yep. This one's a really good hole. Lots to like so far. Okay. And Another kind of wide open fairway, although it runs out a little bit more. I think my major critique of this one would be that you've kind of just done the lion's mouth thing, and now we're doing it again with an even smaller bunker. Like, this is a trick I wouldn't pull twice in a row. I really like it on both holes. I just chose, like, with this one, probably rather than a mound, just make it fairway and have a fairway roll. Like, that could have worked. There's alternatives to it. Looks really good off the tee. I assume, is this the Enchanted Rock? I'm assuming I'm missing a joke with the name, but it's okay. I do like that this all feeds in if I can just shoot that gap. This sort of level of bearded bunker I think is perfect. Like, it's where it makes it down. I think what it is for me, it's where it makes it down like the little fingers in the bunker or the capes, however you want to call them. That's where I think you kind of lose it a little bit because those are the more man-made bits. I think bearded bunkers tend to work really well with simple shapes when you start bringing them onto more. You think is it off in the background across the river? Oh, okay. I'm sure we'll see it at some point. Probably with waterfalls. But yeah, when you try and do it with more like manufactured shapes is where I think it loses me a little. It's going to hit on the upslope too much, but it's hopefully an easy chip and a putt. Or a chip and a chip. Stupid game. Cool. Again, planting the green site, great. Just would have done something a little more to differentiate it from a previous one. Huh. Okay, long par 3, 0 room for error. I probably would have liked these bunkers moved forward 5 yards. I think it'll increase your playability massively. Particularly for this pin. We're defending this pin in an awful lot of ways. I can see what we're trying to do, which is land it here, roll it off that slope. But we've got to roll it off that slope and avoid this one straight off the bat. Avoid these bunkers. Part of the reason I've brought these forward as well is if you have them here, that basically tells people you've got to land it just over it. Bring them a little bit further forward, and it creates that kind of indecision as to where you land it. Like, you don't need to have it so you land just over the bunker. But you have also just given us a, like, flipping it around as to why we would be doing this, you have given us a reachable par 5 that was quite short, drivable par 4 in the first 6 holes. I don't mind you ramping up the challenge a little bit here. Just wish I could hit this shot, and I don't think I can. That's too far left. Got the distance as well. Okay, where are we going to go? Ooh, heavy rough. Okay, but I do have a little bit of red slope as a backstop, which we'll try and use. Came down a little bit. Yeah, I think that hole is so close. It's just that extra little space I think I would like for that length of hole. I think that's the other thing. If it's 170, 180, I think you can get away with the bunkers where you put them. That's partly a difficulty thing as well. Okay. I like the sort of hidden green. I feel like we've had quite a few of this, like what I would term a saddle green so far. I just kind of wonder whether we could have varied the green side just a touch. As is, I think I can carry that. Great look though. And yep, yep, that's a difficult pin. Really like the sloping on the green though, generally. I thought I might have hit slow there. Get lucky. Not quite. Joys with going for an arid style course is also that if it's a little bit barren, you kind of get away with it. Just thinking, I wondered whether we needed a few more grasses up here, but yeah, I think it works. What's the best? It depends for you. I mean, TGC tours and everything is judged based on swing stick. So I use swing stick and we play on master, so I just go by their settings, even though I don't play the tours. But yeah, I mean, people enjoy 3-click. I guess it's more open to macros. Okay, love the tee shot. That kind of skyline fairway, I think, is a really good look. The only thing I would say about this one is you kind of done the bunker in front of the green thing again. I just wonder whether we could have done this a little bit differently. Like, you've got all of the elements here to just bench a smaller green in here, put one more bunker in here, and then that incentivizes you to play from the left. Like, we don't need to crutch on this one stylistic feature too much. I'm just going to try and hit the speed slot and go as far as I can. And then we'll deal with the second shot when it comes. I know I'm coming in over the bunker, but I kind of thought that was always going to happen. I like the little house behind this green. It's totally unnecessary, but I like it. Something around about there, maybe. Fast might save that one, you know. Really good use of the autumn tree as well. I appreciate that. It's another really challenging hole for sure. But it was a par 5, so I think protect the eagle, give up birdie is fine. So is this? One sec. So it's a dried up riverbed, and then we've got or inlet, and then we've got the river down here. Cool. Okay. This is the one with the false front, right? I like that there's more to this than just the false front. Like, it's really going to come into play for this pin, and probably for this pin if you miss it by just a touch left. But I love this little dip as well. I think that makes this is a really good green. Yeah, big fan of this one. Okay, I really want to be over on the left, and it's kind of impossible to get. I am happy with 3-wood. Okay, pitching wedge up 27. That's an extra what, 9? 140 into wind. Yeah, that's probably the club. With slope somewhere over here. Probably a fast. Okay. Decent enough. Just overhit the putt. Shame. That's one of my favourite greens in the contest. I think it does a lot really nicely. With like just incorporation of 2 really good features. Okay. Gone for the old triple tiered green, which is fine. These things happen. And lighting is not your friend on this hole, unfortunately. Probably, again, I personally, I'd have liked a little bit more fairway short, but I understand why you don't have it. That said, if we go there, nope, just off the edge. I do really like the bunker placements around this hole. Still think the front one's a touch heavy on the planting there. Everything else I think is great. Knew I didn't hit that. Back in 1 second. Very interrupted stream today. Apologies. And back-to-back threes. Definitely a different type of green. Certainly a small target, but like every bit as challenging. The sloping on this one's really good. Kind of more what I think I appreciate more about this one. This one's more directional. The previous one was more distance, and you had the tiers to stop you or run you back. Like the subtlety of this one is those two holes in back to back. Is that this one? It's shorter, obviously, but it's less about distance control and more about horizontal accuracy. Cool way to go high point to high point as well. Well, we're below the hole at least. And we're still below the hole. Nice little fence and walkway. Could we have cleared out the tree just to give us a bit of a view of the river? I think might have been nice. As much as I love this green site, I think I do feel this green site we've done quite a bit, where it's kind of benched into a little valley. So we had it on, I want to say 3. That dog leg that was drivable. There's been one, or I think there's been one more still, if memory serves. Now, if we play this way, we're blind. If we play out this way, you get a view. So that's nicely done. Okay. Hopefully middle of the fairway and just trust that the wind will take it around a little. And then that gets me the... You want me to play driver. See. I do not have the shot. So it's kind of forcing you to hit a draw with the driver off. One too many lion's mouth, definitely. Unless there's more coming, in which case definitely. But yeah, I would say so. But yeah, I mean, it's really strong. I do not have the wind for this. I do like these bunkers just bisecting the fairway. The bunker, like, I can't critique this hole in isolation. I think it's really good. It's just that we've done this sort of thing a little bit before. Oh no, that's not the shot. This is why you don't try and play driver off the deck. But it really tempted me. It's like, if that shot is pulled off. Thank you, Seb. I need your support. It's not been going great. Struggled on Grovey's course, now struggling more on Pat's. Okay, we'll make a path. We'll reset. Last few holes. Okay. Whereabouts in the plot are we? I really like how we've explored the plot on what looks like quite a lot of kind of parallel holes, but definitely doesn't feel like it. Fairway sculpting again is really good. Like there are what doesn't work is when you do this sort of stuff and you do nothing down here, or it's dead flat over here. There's no rumples whatsoever, and then there's a big one, and like around it, like, everything is flat. It's got to make sense and it's got to tie in. And yeah, it's a bit more undulating than other bits of land, but it does fit because of the plot. And if you look down here, you've got kind of similar stuff. It's clear that a lot of time has gone into it, so I really appreciate that. Okay, tucked in behind a bunker. Have we got? Is that an aiming point? I guess so. With the wind, that should bring it round a little bit further to the left. He does. I mean, it's been the field is really really good. We're gonna have some tough groups to judge. Sloping on this one maybe feels a touch penal. Given, I guess I could have. How far over am I? I could have gone a little far over, but I'm still fighting this angle no matter what. Then again, like I know the difficulty you were going for, so yeah, the last couple of days of publishers were a lot of fun, which kind of knew we'd always have people hanging on till deadline day, but it's cool to see what people were working on. Okay, that one's definitely a par all day long. Another good example of why 500-yard par fours aren't really that long anymore. This is fun. This is definitely different. Tiny little bit of fairway around the green. Okay, so the question is, where are we laying up? You've given us a load to work with. Could even probably play down to here, right? Wouldn't be wise, but we could. Yeah, 3 wood out here, I think. Giving myself quite a long approach. Didn't really anticipate that. That's okay. Was planning on a fast and not a slow. Still no birdie. Might have liked a tiny bit of planting under the tree. Just a couple of grasses. Given how heavily everything else is planted, I think you could have done just a touch around here as well. Again, minor. I like the disconnected green though. That's a nice change of pace. Okay, 16. Okay. One thing I will say is that I think, with the exception of the second back-to-back par 3, we've had a lot of downhill par 3s. I think 4 now. Just a couple of rocks. Which I might have tweaked. Visually, really, really good. Grass work, as ever, totally on point. Sloping on the green is violent. Excited to see what Pat does for major. There we go. Probably had the most accessible pin on there, at least. Yeah, rock work's really good. And it's really well integrated with the landscape as well. Oh, don't worry. You will hear it plenty more times in the coming month. Sweeping uphill reverse camber sort of dogleg. Interesting. And kind of a further right you play, the more you get access to that slope. Okay. My suspicion is I won't be able to reach into, right? Oh no. It's doable. It's just very uphill. Um, chuck up a prayer. It feels very similar to, I want to say, a hole on Drinkwater Basin, maybe. I remember there was one on there that I never knew if I had enough club on into. That was close. Right, if we go a little bit past the hole, it's fine. Because, yep, and we should have a birdie. Cool way to get us up to the high point again. Was that 17? So 18, presumably very downhill. Oh no. Love this green site. That's a cool 18th hole. So what's the... Oh, so that's our driving range. Ah, that's... The driving range makes sense, both in how you've done it and where it is. 418, we just want to hit it somewhere down in there and then see what comes our way with the pitch shot, right? I like that you've ended with a little bit of an easier hole. So, like, leave people hopefully with a good taste. And it's certainly far less challenging than some of the others. And yet, still not without its teeth. Like, the green is simpler, but like, there's certainly misses you don't want to make. Like, it would have been easy to overcomplicate the screen, but yeah, the giant fall off to the right is enough. There we go. I really, really enjoyed that. I think because of the difficulty, it's like, that's always something that's going to lend itself to slightly more critiques. Because when you try to go for a more difficult course, you have to do certain things, and so most of my comments are kind of hope that they're framed in that. Like, I know the difficulty you're going for. I understand it. It's just there are different ways of coming up with that difficulty, which we'll see more in major. My preference wouldn't be to kind of cut fairway short on par threes and like force perfect landing zones. Oh no, that's not true. Definitely force perfect landing zones, but like I'd allow a little bit more fairway in front of par threes occasionally. There's so much to love. The planting is awesome. Um, Possibly the best in the contest. Like, I can't think of any that I would put above that. Both the detail and like variety and creativity. I think like 10 out of 10 on my for me. I thought there's some really interesting hole designs there, certainly. Um, what and some really cool green sites. It's a great plot, and I think you got pretty much the most out of it. Things I might have done a little differently, as mentioned, the lion's mouth. I think you kind of you did that a few too many times, predominantly on the front nine. Had you just done one on the front nine, it would have meant the one on the back nine wouldn't have felt like it. There's on the was it 13? I think would have felt a little bit better. Um, kind of like the back to back par threes more than I normally do. I normally find them kind of forced, but I think they work well. I would have probably tried to avoid multiple very downhill par threes. I want to play that again just to check that, but I feel like of the five, four of them were significantly downhill, and one was kind of flat. And I'm not saying chuck in an uphill par three because you don't necessarily need to. It's just you maybe want to avoid significant downhill multiple times. What else? Occasionally, I think you give us an angle that you can't get to. So I want to think. I think 15 is a good example of like with that sloping, it's impossible to ever get to a good angle to attack that green. Um, as a case in point, was that 15 or 14? Whichever one the one tucked behind the hillside was. Now, other positives. I will remember lots of holes on that course, and it's one that I'm really excited to come back and try again because it's a very good comparison with Grovies. Actually, Grovies was all about the environment in the sense of everything being kind of cohesive and together, and like every hole was one of 18, and like they all built up a sum. The whole is greater than the sum of its parts, whereas this one far more, I think, like there's holes that will just blow your way and you will remember that specific shot. Like I definitely remember the sixth green side, for example, the first green side, the 18th green side, like because of the variety in the plot. I do still think you occasionally sack greens into similar sorts of locations. You could maybe vary that a little bit more. Um, but other than that, I don't have a ton more. I think the only other thing I probably would have liked a tiny cut of light rough. That would have been it. Because if people are running off the fairway in a big way, they're always going to miss that. So, like, if you lower the slider on light rough down to maybe 24, 20, that would have just meant if you're just creeping off, you've still got something to help you rather than it being so all or nothing, which I think can be a bit penal. But that's really all I've got. I think this one will do really, really well. Group G is going to be tough, um, which was always likely. But yeah, really enjoyed it. I will be back probably tomorrow with a couple more playthroughs. I'm going to try and do a couple every day as much as I can until we're done with them. So yeah, those of you watching on YouTube, play the course. Thank you for watching and see you again soon.